All right, we wanted to come on here and talk about our recent trip to Seattle Children's Hospital. Like you all know, we had our, was it called Superhero Muscle Day?
Super Muscle Day.
Super Muscle Day clinic,
Yeah.
Where we traveled to Seattle. Both boys saw 7 to 9 specialists. We had an 8 to 6 p.m. appointment and new baselines, new treatment plans. We talked about what's in the pipeline, etc. So we wanted to kind of review our day and the order that we saw everybody. So first we saw cardio.
8 a.m.
At 8 a.m.
Cardio.
And cardio did...
EKG. So they come in, they put a whole bunch of different stickers on their chest. The kids actually find that to be pretty fun, and a lot of times they have pretty cool like little faces and stuff like that on there, and then they connect it to the computer literally right there, and it only takes, I don't know, 2 minutes. So the EKG is super duper fast, and then they go to
an echocardiogram,
which is more or less like a ultrasound of the heart. So they put the gel on there and they kind of end up going through there, and so yeah.
And then he came in after he saw the results immediately, and at this point both of them had good results on the echo and EKGs. So both their hearts look really good. They do want to see Mason back in 6 months instead of a year. So we are going to travel back to Seattle in 6 months for cardio for Mason. He wants to do another echo and EKG at the 6-month mark since he's been going through the Elevidys gene therapy. I want them to be inside with the door closed if possible.
Mason, close the door.
And that is what it's like trying to make content while you're being a parent. If you know, you know. Hey, you come here real quick. Did you know 80% of you watching this right now aren't currently subscribed? Are you enjoying our channel? If so, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us, and it helps us reach more families just like you. Okay, thanks. Bye. So I did write down the questions we wrote for cardiology. What age do you start seeing things progress with their hearts?
Cardiomyopathy.
The cardiomyopathy. Our cardio said about 9 years of age or so is when you kind of start seeing that progression. What meds should we look at for to protect their heart? Food or activities to avoid? Did he ever?
Anything at this point. There wasn't anything that any particular medication that is going to, any particular medication that's going to help them right now. That's going to, they're not in the danger zone as of yet, and then not necessarily any activities to avoid.
So in 6 months we'll go back to Seattle to do another echogram for Mason. Since he is still within a couple years of gene therapy, they want to still have consistent tests for him. And then after that, rehab came in. We talked with her for a long time. What do you think?
Yeah, she was super nice. She was being able to talk about some of the behavioral issues that it seems like all of these DMD kids end up having to go with, or end up having, and then coping skills from, I think, kids and parents, because I need to cope with his behavior, and sometimes that is a really big challenge, and it's very hard to kind of figure out what's steroids, what's him being 5 years old, and what's DMD.
We also kind of talked about different discipline tactics. There's a fine line between what's causing his behavior, like prednisone, versus him being a 5-year-old. So kind of being careful about the right way to discipline, knowing there are outside sources kind of affecting his overall behavior. And then we did get a referral for neurodevelopmental pediatrics, so kind of looking at maybe hyperactivity, meds that might help his mood, and kind of get evaluated with DMD comes some ADHD, autism traits, stuff like that. So she does think it's good to kind of get the ball rolling, have him see neurodevelopmental pediatrics, which happened to be next week. So we are going to Seattle next week to see one of those specialists and an ophthalmologist that we will get into a little later. We didn't really talk about Jack much with rehab, did we?
No, he's being that, he's young enough, he doesn't have crazy behavioral, outbursts or anything that's beyond him being a 2-year-old.
Yeah, we mostly talked about his physical rehab, like PT and stuff like that.
Right, him being a little wobbly and needing maybe more kind of rehab on his trunk and yeah.
And then we're getting all the tools right now for Jack with the behavioral coping skills, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully once we get a little bit more experience, we'll handle Jack's behavior that much better.
Yep.
And then the dietitian came in. We did talk about iron levels, which his iron was good, so I guess that's not a big...
We were thinking, and she was thinking that it might be low with just some of his behavior and mood swings and that type of stuff, but at the end of the day when we got labs and then checked his my chart, his iron was fine. So
we also talked about the calcium in supplements. So Mason at his age needs 100 milligrams of calcium a day. What did I say? 100? 1,000 milligrams of calcium a day. Jack is 700. So we just talked about other ways to get calcium because Mason isn't a huge fan of dairy. Jack is, so he's not a problem. So we kind of got the tips and tricks on the proper diet, hence our diet video. We decided a low carb, high protein diet with the dietitians going to be the best for their overall health and brain activity.
We did find out that if you are in the same boat as us where Mason does not like a lot of dairy type product, don't give him 1,000 milligrams of whatever calcium supplement right off the bat. In one dose. It's best to split it up, so either split the pill in half or just buy ones that are 500 milligrams. But your body actually can't digest or metabolize that as quickly as possible or as quickly as it needs. So do it at 500 milligrams and
in the morning, 500 at night.
Yep.
Or just do 500 if they're getting enough calcium diet-wise to supplement.
Right. They definitely do say eating your calcium is going to be the best way versus taking some sort of supplement.
Alongside vitamin D is very important. We talked about calcium, iron.
We're really good about him taking his vitamin D.
Yeah. So we do notice a difference with energy with the vitamin D. We do need to be better with Jack. He doesn't swallow pills yet, so we're doing more of a liquid for him. And then speaking of vitamin D, we didn't see an endocrinologist actually.
Yeah, we definitely saw the endocrinologist because we talked about his height and all of that. And we talked about how he has not gained really 1 inch in an entire year. And so what we need to necessarily look at doing and changing his prednisone to a different anti-inflammatory. I'm totally forgetting of the name. It's not Dilazocorp, is it? Valoramorm. Valoramorm. Is going to be, I think, what he's going to be trying to be on, which there has been similar anti-inflammatory properties as prednisone, but it's better with behavior, better with height, and so that's what was our big concern with the endocrinologist, is that he hasn't grown at all for an entire year. And being that he is on prednisone, if he can't go on any sort of growth hormone or anything like that because his little receptor,
it's turned off with the prednisone, so like even with growth hormones it won't do anything,
right? Because
those adrenals are turned off, right?
The adrenal gland.
And then with Jack, Mason's hormone levels actually are normal, so by changing to the new anti-inflammatory he should get that linear growth. Jack has one growth hormone that's a little deficient, so with the endocrinologist we're just kind of monitoring his natural growth chart because he isn't on any steroids yet or any medication directly connected with DMD yet, so and his growth is normal right now, and we're just
wanting to keep it that way.
Then we saw our neurologist for a while, and we talked about
A lot of things.
A lot of things. What's in the pipeline? We are going to change up their treatment plans a little bit with Mason's prednisone, like we just talked about. We're starting the process of the
skipping weekend dosing, first of all. I think we've talked about that in maybe some of our videos.
Yeah.
So we are going to stop doing the weekend dosing because he was going to be on 200 milligrams over a 2-day period, so 100 milligrams a day. He's on 15 milligrams now, and we're not going to, I don't think, necessarily see that much of a linear growth benefit by swapping to weekend dosing, and I think his behavior is going to be even more escalated, and they're going to be mostly on my 2 days off, which is going to test my patience as well. But
so we did decide to go ahead and forego the weekend dosing idea, and since he is about a year out from gene therapy, she said it's a good time to kind of try the new anti-inflammatory, transition out of the prednisone into that. We will put the name here because we can't remember it. It starts with a V. Vermorelon. So we're going to try this medication that seems to be doing a lot of good benefits, and it's an anti-inflammatory like prednisone without those nasty side effects. So we are going to see how he takes to that, if there's any changes. And then with Jack, so with Mason, that is, I think, our treatment plan with him, right? Just changing that medication. And then with Jack, we did have a long conversation about his current treatment with the exon skipping and Exondys with the neurologist. And then we also talked to Pat Furlong with PPMD a little bit about it. And we did mutually all decide that we are not going to do a port for Jack at this time, and we are going to stop the exon skipping treatment at this time. We believe in the next year or two there is another exon skipping drug in the pipeline that hopefully will get approved that is going to be significantly better of a treatment, and once every 6 weeks infusion versus once a week. Therefore, we could probably avoid a port if he's only going in once every 6 weeks. So we're going to pray that gets approved. We're going to pray that works out. In the meantime, we're going to just wait until Jack turns 4 and pursue whatever gene therapy is available at that time. And then hopefully this exon skipping is just an added bonus. So at this point, Jack is going to just stay a 2-year-old and enjoy life. And it was just too traumatic of an experience.
I felt selfish that we were trying to give him this drug because it was free. So thank you, Sarepta, for being generous and giving him this free exon skipping drug that he was denied multiple times from insurances and stuff like that. So I felt just selfish wanting to make sure that he gets this, but then it is so traumatic with him trying to be able to get a vein every time, and then it was a battle for the nurses to find the vein, and it was just way too much for him. So
it was creating a lot of unnecessary emotional trauma when we were just seeing minimal results. We did see improvement, but we just did a lot of research on this new exon skipping in the pipeline, and the effectiveness is going to be a lot better, hopefully. So we saw neuro. We had lunch. We had a good lunch, and then we PT and OT. We saw PT and OT. Mason did his
North Star ambulatory test and actually improved from his last. And a lot of times with these boys with DMD, even if you maintain a North Star score is amazing, and not necessarily going down. So him going up
5 points.
It was something like that.
It was 4 or 5 points.
Yep.
And so, that is showing the gene therapy is working, and that's fantastic. So
he goes up stairs 10 times better than he ever did.
They didn't evaluate Jack's PT with the North Star ambulatory assessment. They ask, stand on 1 foot for 2 seconds, and so Jack just can't follow those instructions yet. So, but he is doing really good in our local PT. So that was pretty much it. After we saw the doctors, we did our labs and did our x-rays, and so that is both of their updated treatment plans, how our day went, what's in the pipeline, and the only new thing that we haven't spoke about is we are going to travel to Seattle Children's again next week. We are going to have 2 appointments, like I said, the neurodevelopmental specialist, just to evaluate, see if maybe ADHD is in there somewhere, etc. And then we took Mason to the eye doctor a couple weeks ago, and they did see some cataracts forming in his right eye, a small spot, which when we talked to the neurologist, she did say that's pretty atypical. It shouldn't be forming yet. DMD shouldn't be causing it. His Chiari malformation shouldn't be causing it. The steroid use only a year into prednisone really shouldn't be causing it. So they did go ahead and sign us up to see their pediatric Seattle Children's ophthalmologist. And then we were able to get both appointments done. So we will keep you updated. So if anyone out there has an idea of why he would be forming cataracts this early, being a year on prednisone and only 5 years old with DMD, if you have any ideas, comment below and we will bring that up to the doctor. Because this has been a 5-year, his eye issue alone has been a 5-year thing in the making, and we still have 0 results or 0 answers. So pray for us that we get a little bit of direction with what's going on with those eyeballs of his. So.
Yes. Thank you so much for, following along and listening to us, keeping you updated.
And this is kind of a glimpse on how these annual appointments go. So if you have any questions on how that went or knowledge that we might have from that day in Seattle, we'd be happy to share.